Cars are a symbol of freedom and independence. We use them every day, whether headed to work or taking a family trip. It's an emotional connection.
I loved my car because it's a small SUV and I'm short.
Candace Boyd Simmons
Love you too.
is a working mom and wife. Her Mazda CX-9 is a constant companion.
We're in the car a lot.
She trusts her car to help her run errands and take her daughter to school, but had no idea how much information she was handing over.
When you were buying, did you even think about the privacy policy?
No.
Every car manufacturer has one or more. They're several pages long. You may not be surprised they're collecting information about your speed and braking, your behavior behind the wheel.
This is scary. This is scary.
But your car is also collecting details about your life.
At this point, do you think car companies are collecting too much of our data?
There is absolutely no doubt.
Oh, I should have asked you where you want to go.
Angie Raymond teaches business law and ethics at Indiana University. She says the companies collect mountains of information.
And why not? Because they know no one's paying attention.
Data is big business.
Trillions. The data ecosystem is trillions of dollars without any question whatsoever.
Still, she admits it wasn't on her mind when she bought her Subaru.
Did you look at the privacy policy?
No, and I'm a privacy person. Absolutely did not.
This is not just a Mazda or Subaru issue, but an industry-wide concern.
You say they are your worst product category that you've ever reviewed?
Oh, by far, by far.
Jen Coltreiter is with the Mozilla Foundation, a tech-focused nonprofit that ranks products based on privacy and security features. It reviewed 25 car privacy policies.
We never had a category where we couldn't find something good that we could recommend to somebody to choose over something bad.
Coltreiter and Raymond say car manufacturers have multiple policies that are confusing, vague, and allow for the collection of too much data, including where you go, what you like, text messages, and personal information about your health and sex life. No, really. There it is in one Kia privacy policy. The company may collect data about users' sex life or sexual orientation, but that's not included in the Kia Connect privacy policy.
Oh my gosh. No, why would you need to know that?
So we don't know how automakers collect all this information, but experts tell us there are a few possibilities, like when your phone is connected. Modern cars also have lots of sensors and cameras like this.
There are 9 cameras, including one inside. There's like that watches you. I think that's probably the biggest data privacy concern.
Luke Zhang owns a Tesla and likes its high-tech features.
I work in tech as a data scientist. I don't see this as a car. I see it more as an adult toy.
Unlike many other companies, Tesla lets owners easily opt out of some data collection.
Under privacy.
But Zhang noticed choosing to opt out may have serious consequences.
They warn you, if you turn it off, this might result in your vehicle suffering from reduced functionality, serious damage,
And possibly make the vehicle inoperable.
As a consumer, I think when I bought the car, I should have the right to use all the functionalities this car provided, regardless of what I choose to do with my data privacy.
After our conversation, Zhang chose to let Tesla collect more of his data.
So that they can improve faster.
But that was his decision, an informed decision, and he accepts the risks.
Are we worried about hackers? Are we worried about other countries getting this information? What could go wrong?
All of that.
Raymond thinks companies should have to clearly explain what they're collecting, why, and who they share it with. A system that gives consumers the keys, so they control what happens with their information.
The city of Indianapolis spends millions of your tax dollars to settle claims involving police. So we wanted to know exactly how much our city is paying out. 13 Investigates reporter Cierra Putman joins us in studio tonight with her special report.
Well, Scott, turns out it's really hard to pin down that number, in part because the city's record keeping is complicated. Plus, most details are kept quiet.
Stay to the right.
Bill Rainsberger was living a nightmare.
It was very disorienting.
Accused of murder in 2014. Today, he's free, but still angry.
I had a couple people threaten to kill me just right out of the bat.
So you're already grieving, and now
Yes.
you're afraid for your life.
Yes.
The murder victim, his mother, Ruth. He describes the 88-year-old as a sweet old lady with dementia.
I've never been as close to anyone.
So he was surprised police thought he killed her. After 2 months in jail, he was released. The prosecutor dropped the charges for evidentiary problems. Rainsberger sued IMPD and accused the lead detective of lying in this probable cause affidavit. 2 federal courts found there were misleading or false statements about surveillance video, DNA evidence, and phone records. The courts thought a jury could find the detective did it intentionally.
It just reinforced the whole thing about how I got railroaded.
The city paid $490,000, one of the most expensive recent agreements 13 Investigates reviewed. This is just one out of nearly 500 settlements we looked at to figure out just how much the city was paying for police incidents. 13 Investigates calculated the city spent at least $9.9 million in settlements over 5 years. More than half of all payouts were for $10,000 or less. Most were related to car crashes. Nearly $1.7 million went to payouts to people like Andre Davis Smith, who was rear-ended by an officer in 2017.
I just wanted to be compensated for the accident and the pain and suffering.
The most costly type of settlements totaled $7.8 million in tax dollars and involve accusations of excessive force or civil rights violations.
She came up to the car with her gun drawn,
like toward his head.
The Browns documented their 2016 traffic stop. The IU law professor and his wife sued, alleging illegal, unlawful, excessive, and unwarranted force. It led to a payout and a rare written apology.
The settlement at least makes it clear they did something wrong. They admit that they did something wrong. They paid for it.
How did you feel about the settlement process?
They're a bunch of jerks. The city just fights tooth and nail, even beyond what you might think they would fight.
I don't believe that would be a fair assessment.
Brandon Beeler is with the Office of Corporation Counsel. They are the attorneys who will represent IMPD and other city county departments.
Remember that our dollars we spend are taxpayer dollars, and we are incredibly mindful of that.
It is a protection to the taxpayer in many cases, not all.
Sheila Kennedy used to represent the city. She says playing hardball is sometimes needed. Because settlements are often cheaper than a trial, they don't always mean the city was in the wrong. But
if they're paying out a lot of money, they did something wrong.
Figuring out what went wrong is tough. Most settlement agreements provide vague or no details at all. 13 Investigates found 86% have clauses like this that bar and discourage people from talking.
I was actually stunned when I read it, because you're allowing government to basically hide its errors and its mistakes.
The city says a confidentiality and non-disparagement clause is standard.
The confidentiality is more, again, for the protection of each party.
By making it so they can't tell what they think happened?
It's a standard clause in civil litigation.
That's the city's director of communication and policy stepping in.
You put me in jail for 2 months and you want me to talk about it?
Rainsberger refused to sign that clause. He wanted to tell his story and his mother's.
It makes me mad that they didn't really investigate much of anything. I want them to go out and find who did this.
Today, IMPD says Ruth's murder case is closed, cleared by the 2014 arrest of her son, which led to that $500,000 settlement. A 13 Investigates camera was rolling as Valentin Cousin and his would-be victim, Plainfield officer Nathan Nolan, walked into the courthouse Thursday morning. Cousin admitted in court that he asked the gas station clerk to write a letter framing Nolan of wrongdoing to try and prevent the other officer from getting a promotion.
Hi, Mr. Cousin. Sierra with Channel 13. Do you want to explain why you tried to set up another officer?
Do you want to explain why you lied on the news?
No comment. Oh. So you just pled guilty to trying to set up another officer. Clear it up if you think we got it wrong.
Just no comment. Thank you.
No comment?
At this point, at the advice of my lawyer, no comment then.
Yeah.
And this is the second time we found that you tried to set up another officer. Can you explain that?
As my lawyer said, no comment at this time.
And what do you want to say to the judge? She said you were given a gift with this plea.
I think the judge is a wonderful person, and I think she's very fair.
In court, the judge expressed concern the plea deal was too lenient. Ultimately, she approved it since Nolan was okay with it. Cousin read a 12-word statement, quote, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to Plainfield, and I'm sorry to Nathan Nolan. Cousin is now on probation for a year. He also agreed to permanently give up his law enforcement credentials in Indiana and said he will never apply for another police job.
You know, that's the best we can do.
And you're promising to notify all those states?
Well, we'll get it done.
This is the second time Cousin has been accused of something like this. 13 Investigates found court documents that show NYPD disciplined him for writing this anonymous letter falsely accusing his supervisor of causing a drunk driving crash. Before the sun rises, students trickle into Perry Meridian High School.
Good morning.
To Good Morning. Music. And the beeps of the district's $1 million weapons detection system. These monitors help zero in on where to check for a potential weapon. None today. School officials say they found 0 guns since the system was installed last semester.
So you all feel safe at school?
Yeah, for sure.
The district connected us with these seniors. They know about the increase of gun violence impacting Indy kids, but say it's not top of mind for them.
It feels like a pretty safe space. Patrick.
We also spoke to kids in other districts. We're not showing one child's face for his safety.
Do you all feel safe at school right now?
No, I didn't know.
There's good reason. In the last 2 school years,
Students brought guns
Found at school with a gun. A student with a gun in a student's backpack.
13 News reported at least a dozen incidents of guns at school or on a school bus. Last May, 2 16-year-olds in Indianapolis were arrested after posing with guns in a high school bathroom. In August, a new Whiteland school reported an elementary student had a gun on the bus.
He said, "Hey, look at this." Then he pulled out a gun.
The exact number of weapons and guns in schools is unclear. Indiana doesn't require districts to track that, but the state does track the number of student arrests.
13 Investigates reviewed 8 school years worth of student arrest reports. They showed at least 55 gun-related student arrests last school year, triple the cases we calculated from 4 years earlier. These kids believe those stats just hint at the true number of guns at school.
Do you remember the last time you felt safe at school?
Elementary? Yeah, when I was like 7, 10.
Kindergarten, first grade.
We connected with this 14, 16, and 18-year-old through a youth group. They all report having an experience with weapons at school.
Do you think there are more weapons on school now?
100%.
Students may bring weapons, but these kids say most of the time they are not used. But then there are cases like this 2021 stabbing at North Central High School. The teen with the knife was convicted of attempted murder. Knives are a worry, but guns are these kids' biggest concern.
Especially because of the laws that have been passed, has made getting a firearm so easy. Not only do I not feel safe, it's like I know that if they were really upset and they wanted to get a gun, they could.
What made you decide to take a weapon to school?
So I had a lot of issues, like home and at school, but I kept getting in fights a lot.
This 16-year-old got caught with a gun in middle school and was expelled. He told us the gun was protection.
So I pretty much brought it on a consistent basis almost every day before I even got caught. I didn't think nothing of it.
The teen says he told adults there was a problem before he brought a weapon to class.
So if I'm hearing both of you kids don't feel like the adults are going to protect them.
They're taking their time with the situation. Like she said, after it happens, then they want to do something about it. They don't want to act first.
These students have strong opinions about ways to make schools safer, like using metal and weapons detection systems.
You walk in a Warren, if you look and you look to the right, the metal detector is off to the side, up against the wall. It's not even getting used no more.
13 Investigates reached out to Warren Township. The district told us metal detectors were always in use at 2 of its student entrances. Now, they say a new system covers all student entrances. This school year, the district says it confiscated 1 gun. The students also believe searches could be more thorough. Lennon says in her middle school,
they tell us when we're about to get searched or the day before. So it's like we know when to bring stuff and when not to.
Warren Township couldn't speak to her experience, but tells 13 Investigates that's not protocol. every district has a big assignment.
It's unfortunate and sad that it's come to this point.
Schools have to keep weapons out and make all kids feel safe.
Keep in mind, if there's an incident with a weapon and no arrest, that doesn't show up in the reports we looked at.